You're listening to ShipFam. On today's episode, we bring on Sebastian, the indie hacker known for building the GitHub commit graph-style habit tracker called HabitKit. You're going to hear this conversation starting partway through because we opened talking about Luke's week sailing and only caught the second half of it.
You can notice I'm like tan. I look like a Greek god now with really white hair because I was sitting in a boat for like 5 days straight.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
I got that brown skin now, that like tan skin. Cool. What did you guys go over already?
Yeah, I was just complaining, like, everybody, not just on Twitter, I feel like people tend to be scared to be candid about their indie app success, their professional career, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, Sebastian, I like having you on the podcast because I think you're somebody who tends to be way, way more candid than most about your app dev journey.
So actually, Sebastian, I'm really glad that you've come on. And the reason is probably obvious to a lot of people. You've been active on Build in Public in the mobile space and Twitter. And there's not a lot of people doing Build in Public mobile, especially consumer mobile, who are actually making enough revenue to quit their job and live that indie hacker dream. Most people are doing like small SaaS businesses. I'm just really stoked to have you on here for that reason alone, because that's like where Casey and we have our passion in consumer mobile. Every now and then I wonder to myself, like, maybe I should try micro SaaS. And to be honest with you, I probably will at some point. But I really want to make that dream work because I just really love building things for people.
Yeah, so I think we're here just to steal all your secrets and ideas.
Exactly.
Sadly, there are no secrets, actually.
How did indie dev get started for you? I'm sure you've told the story a million times, but let's hear it for the audience.
Yeah, I told it a couple of times before. Yeah, it's always a little bit hard to determine when it started. I think at the end of my university time, when I thought about starting my first job and I was actually applying for my first role as a software engineer, I discovered the indiehackers.com community and their awesome podcast. And I was getting all this content from this famous indie hackers like Peter Levels and these other cool people. And that really inspired me. And I thought to myself, damn, I need to do this as well sometime in the future. Yeah, but I actually started my real job then. I didn't have the balls to actually not take a job and start indie hacking right out of university. So yeah, that was the spark of the idea.
Now, was HabitKit your first like officially launched indie project, or did you have some before that?
No, HabitKit was my second app actually. Yeah, so before that, I actually built another app called LiftBear. It's a weightlifting app for iOS and Android. I'm pretty sure you maybe saw it on X or Twitter. Yeah, that was my first app. So after 3 years of staying in my first job as a software engineer, I kind of got bored by it, and I had the urge to build stuff on my own, and I was reminded of this indie hacker stuff, and I actually thought to myself, okay, I will quit my job now and set a deadline of 12 months and build apps on my own. And the first one was LiftBear, yeah.
So if I remember right, you have LiftBear, and then I believe you did Wind Diary, and then you did HabitKit third. Is that the order that you did it in?
I know it was LiftBear first, HabitKit second, and Wind Diary third, actually.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, HabitKit is like wildly more successful than Wind Diary, which is wildly more successful than LiftBear. Is that right?
HabitKit is the absolutely most successful one. Then comes LiftBear and then Wind Diary, which was completely dead on arrival.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So it's funny because to me, HabitKit and Wind Diary, they're very similar, right? And so my curiosity here is, which one do you think between those two have the most utility, and why do you think HabitKit was so much more successful than Wind Diary?
Wind Diary was pretty niche, I guess. It was this weird combination of mood tracking and tracking your personal wins, more like a diary or something like that. And that was a pretty weird combination, and not many people could relate to this combination of features. And HabitKit is super general. It's you can basically basically track everything with it. Some people use it to track their habits, which is the main purpose, and other people use it to track medical incidents like their seizures or something like that.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting.
You can use it for everything, and that, I guess that's one of the reasons why it's so much more successful.
So it's for tracking anything over time, even though it's marketed as for building habits. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
it
really looks a lot like the GitHub commit screen, of course, with all the little grid across with the pretty almost lit up squares. I'm wondering, is that exactly where the idea came from, or did that just kind of naturally emerge the development process?
No, that was the premise. I always thought to myself, man, I want a habit tracking app which has exactly this visualization. And so I just built it.
So it's interesting because HabitKit, when it first launched, I seem to remember it being pretty simple. And do you feel like when it launched that it was obvious it was going to be successful, even when it was simple?
Yeah, there were some indicators. When I first posted the dashboard screen of the app to my Twitter, that was such a successful post. I got so many impressions and likes and new followers from just this tweet where I only posted this picture. And yeah, that was the first sign that I knew, okay, I'm onto something. That was even before I launched the app. And then I got the validation that I should definitely build it fast and put it out. And yeah, so I had some indicators that this could be successful.
Nice.
And when it felt like things were taking off, what do you feel like it was because the product reached a certain maturity, or was there some sort of viral post, or maybe a combination of things that led to that feeling of taking off?
So the most important thing was definitely ranking on the App Store. So I started ranking first on the App Store on iOS. Roughly 2 months after releasing the app, I reached top 5 in the UK for the keyword habit tracking or habit tracker, which is pretty important. And a couple of months later, I also started ranking on Google Play and made it to the top 5 in different countries. And that was huge. That was definitely the biggest factor in the growth of the app.
Now, I was talking to somebody who has an app in this space, and he's been kind of watching you to see if he can figure out like why you're succeeding. And one of the things that he called out to me is that you started ranking for the keywords atomic habits at one point. Have you been paying attention to that? And was that intentional, and do you feel like it made a difference?
That was actually intentional, yeah. So I had a big problem. I started ranking for the big keywords in all these different countries like UK and Germany, where all this money is made. But the biggest market, the US App Store, I didn't rank at all there for my app. And so with ASO, you usually put the biggest keyword inside the app title, right? So HabitKit, for example, is called Habit Tracker HabitKit on the App Store. And this didn't work out at all in the US. I couldn't manage to rank for the habit tracker keyword. So I actually switched it with atomic habits and then started ranking for this keyword and left that in for a couple of months and then switched it back again because I felt that I had my standing in this atomic habits keyword. Yeah, and I still rank for it, and I still try to get into the top 5 for habit tracker on the US App Store.
Okay, so atomic habits was like the easier keyword to start ranking for to get some downloads, and then you like laddered up to habit tracker after that got traction. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, exactly. So,
was there any other keywords before atomic habits, or were those the 2 steps you did?
No, those were the 2 steps I did. Yeah.
I was wondering how you balance your kind of brand image with SEO and ASO in the headlines, because like my app has some hilarious word salad. And I don't know how to gauge if the ASO boost from that word salad is helping me more than the confusion to potential users is hurting me.
I never had any confusion from users. I guess for this little apps like we do, it's not really important to build a brand. It's much more. It has much more value if you get this ASO benefits and actually start ranking. So I don't really care about the brand HabitKit. Yeah. It's not really important to me.
Mm-hmm. I think I get a lot of influencer conversions, which may be driving some of that, because then the influencers aren't even really sure. These are organic videos, not paid, and they're not really sure what the name of the app even is. So they kind of end up in the videos a little scattered, telling people, "Oh yeah, I'm playing this app," and they quote some random name that like barely has anything to do with my app.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious if you have any other distribution channels that have contributed at all, or if it's just almost purely been an ASO play. And if you know how much Twitter publicity has helped push your ASO, because I know Luke and I have seen that as publicity on another platform can kind of kickstart ASO and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, that was a huge factor. This built-in public thing, that's huge for new apps. If you get the first couple of impressions and likes on X or LinkedIn or wherever you're building in public, that really helps a lot. Getting the first downloads and the algorithm gets to get to know that you're noteworthy somehow, and you get your first reviews and ratings from your friends on X or this other indie hackers that want to support you. That was pretty huge. And beside ASO and my building in public, I don't really have external drivers urging people to download my app. So it's mostly ASO and building in public.
Yeah, and I noticed you post a lot of blogs. You've got your monthly blog post with just an update on HabitKit and how it's going. I'm curious how you've been able to kind of keep up, that habit.
Well, we all know how he did that. He uses HabitKit to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a thing. It's actually weekly, not monthly. So it's even more harder.
More work.
More work. Yeah. It helps me keeping accountable, and so as an indie developer without a boss or something like that, you're just on your own and nobody holds you accountable. So if I wanted, I could take the whole week off and do nothing about my apps. And this posting of the weekly logs really helps me, just being consistent. And I always think to myself at the start of the week, okay, what am I building this week? So I can write about it at the end of the week.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of engagement on those posts? Because I think that's the challenge I've had with trying similar blog posts, emails, is they get so little engagement that I have trouble feeling validated, I guess.
Yeah, it's not really important, I guess. I recently did my 34th issue, and I got a notification from Hashnode. That's the platform where I got the blog, and they said my articles reached 30,000 impressions. Nice. Which is actually pretty bad, I guess. So yeah, I don't really care about it. I just do it for myself, and yeah.
It's like a public diary. You cross-post them on Twitter, though, right? Like, haven't you started doing them long form on Twitter?
Yeah, genau. Yeah.
Do those get more impressions than Hashnode?
I don't really compare, to be honest.
Got it.
I would have to check, actually.
Cool. Random question. What are your favorite habits that you're currently tracking in HabitKit for yourself?
So I basically only have... I have 5, let me quickly check my phone. I have 5 core habits, I guess. So I have a habit for doing fitness, weightlifting, running, or similar, all combined in one habit. I have the post on X habit. So I want to write an X post every day. That helps me keeping accountable. I got the daily walk habit.
You've got Norwegian, right? Learn Norwegian. Yeah. I saw that one fell off, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got this one as well recently, a couple of months ago. But I actually failed to keep consistent, and I just started today again to do my lessons.
Nice.
That's a great one. And I have reading and healthy eating. Those are my core habits. And then there are some shorter things or more temporary stuff that I want to achieve, like learning Norwegian or playing guitar.
Yeah. I wonder when a user falls off a habit for a while. For example, Duolingo has a similar idea with their day streaks, and they try really, really hard to not lose your day streak, because of course that's a huge user churn point. I wonder if you found something similar with HabitKit, where a user will finally break a habit and then they're like, oh man, that feels so bad, I'm not going to open the app again. They just churn out.
That's a good point. But I actually got a lot of feedback on the app that many people like that it's so simple and doesn't nudge you all the time to keep at it, and it doesn't send you 1,000 notifications that your streak is about to break, or if you want to freeze your streak and stuff like that. So I want to keep it as simple as possible, and people seem to like it. So I'm not really sure whether I should add stuff like this or not, or at least make it configurable in the options.
Yeah. What do you do for user analytics in general, or just how do you prioritize features? Are you using Firebase Analytics or mostly just qualitative feedback on X or reviews?
Most of the user feedback I get through email. I have this send us feedback button in the settings of the app, and people really use it. So in busy months, I get roughly 10 or 15 emails a day with, hey, I love your app, but could you add this or that feature? And this is my main source of feedback. I also use the app myself every day, and I know what I would like to see in the app. So that's also very important to me. Analytics, I actually have none implemented. So that's
on feedback, are you using the Better Feedback package on PubDev?
No, actually, no. Ooh, never heard of
that. Is one. It's just email, right? It's literally just a button with like a mail to link.
My implementation.
Sebastian?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just opening the email client of the user.
Yeah, Better Feedback's really cool. I encourage checking it out. I use it a lot, and I've done some contributions to it. The big thing it does is it includes a screenshot of the UI and gives the user a bunch of tools to like even annotate the screenshot, things like that.
Okay. Yeah,
it's like a SaaS style feedback tool, right? Like you press a button and it takes a screenshot, and then you can type on it and leave messages and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's really slick. The downside is you have to make your backend a little bit more complicated. I'm sure there's something I'm missing, but as far as I can tell, there's not an extremely simple way to have client phones send you an email from some automated service instead of from their own personal account without exposing that email client to just being hijacked and used for spam. So what you generally have to do is post in Firebase, Supabase, whatever your database is, and then from your backend have a hook that has the email credentials that sends you an email.
I guess there's a service that solves this issue, right? I think it's called Wiredash.
Wiredash, yeah.
Wiredash.
It's a startup here in Germany, yeah.
Oh, hey, I'm learning something today. Oh, this is super helpful. Okay, I'm going to have to look this up after the episode because I've dove into this a couple times over the last couple of years, and each time I couldn't really find a coherent solution.
Yeah, the problem with this type of services is always that they are pricing is based on monthly active users that you have.
Yeah.
And with large freemium-based apps like HabitKit, of course, that pretty quickly expands to crazy numbers.
We should start making a list of all those things that, all those services that are too expensive for mobile apps, because I wanted to collect emails and be able to send emails to customers for this mobile app. But there's so many installs that I was getting into like the $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month plans for an app that, was driving like 3x that. And it was just crazy to me to be paying so much for this stuff. So I think there's like I think a lot of those services are priced in such a way where it doesn't make any sense for consumer mobile.
Yeah. That's why why I don't have analytics in my apps. Mm-hmm. So I didn't add Google or Firebase Analytics because privacy reasons. I don't know. I think it's pretty non-European compliant with data handling, and I checked out a couple of competitors, and they were pretty pricey. So I checked for HabitKit numbers of users, and it was in the $1,000 per month area, and that's crazy for just analytics, actually.
Yeah, do you have a sense of what your monthly active users are?
No, I actually never shared this, and I don't really know exactly because I don't have analytics, but Google gives you this active devices statistics, and I think in App Store Connect
App Store has something similar too, yeah.
Something similar as well.
Yeah.
So I can make a rough guess.
Do you think it's over 100K?
Yeah, it's definitely over 100K.
Is it over Google, like 500K?
No, it's not over 500K.
Okay.
But Google Android alone is over 100K.
Okay. Yeah, that's about in the range I was expecting. Do you have a sense of why you started ranking on Google Play?
Not really. I never even updated my App Store Google Play metadata. When I released the Google App Store listing, I just copied over the stuff I typed into App Store Connect. And then I was done with it. So I didn't change anything. I just started ranking somehow. So I think it's definitely because of increased downloads or increased ratings or reviews.
I wonder if the Google Play algorithm is kind of like the YouTube algorithm where every now and then they'll like trial out a video on people by boosting it, and then if it gets engagement, then they just like crank it right up and it just kind of takes off. I wonder if, because I noticed that on the App Store that doesn't happen very often. It's much more slow, consistent growth.
Yeah, in the App Store you get this 1 week after launch bonus, right? So where you rank for some more important keywords, and then you fall down instantly.
Yeah, exactly. Just going back real quick to feedback, I wonder, how much do you think following user feedback has contributed to your growth and success?
Great question. I don't really know. I just try to make a great app, and every time someone sends me user feedback, I evaluate it and think, would I want to see it in the app? Will it be still simple enough? And these are some factors that I'm always considering. I'm not sure if the app would have been as successful as it is if I haven't been so responsive with the user feedback and the users in general. I don't really know. A tough question.
Because I think that it's really tough with especially utility apps, because I've made utility apps in the past, stuff that I wanted, but it just ended up being stuff that nobody else wanted, right? And then people ask to like add features to make it more like what they want. And then you end up in a situation where you're spending so much time adding features and it's not really clear if it's moving the needle. But I feel like somehow you and your customers have like perfect alignment on what you both actually want. And it's something that I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah, maybe. But most user requests are super simple, and they make a lot of sense, if you know what I mean. So I had this home screen widgets for my app, for HabitKit, and iOS 17 came out and they weren't responsive, interactive. The most requested feature that I got every day was, please make the widgets interactive. So that was a no-brainer, you know. So I didn't had to add a new section to the app or something like that.
But it sounds like you're working on like improving the core experience instead of like building out new verticals. Because I think where a lot of people go wrong, myself included, is that instead of just improving that core feature set, they try to build new verticals within the app to try to make it, I don't know, more featureful or something.
Yeah. I always try to keep it as configurable as possible. So if I add some of this new feature, which is vertical, as you call it, I always make it that the user can go to the settings screen and hide it or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, I always try to keep it as basic as possible and configurable as possible.
Yeah, I'm curious. One thing I'm wondering, I don't know if you'll have an answer for me. Maybe I'm just expressing frustration with my app, is I have a lot of engagement and a lot of users, and it feels like pulling teeth getting feedback out of them. So they play a lot, they have lots of sessions, lots of session time. They might even join our Discord and become active Discord users. But then if I try and get feedback from them, it's either kind of pie in the sky, not super coherent stuff, or they're just like a brick wall. I don't know, maybe that's just game space or something, but I'm really jealous, if nothing else, that sounds like you've got some pretty smart users who are giving you pretty coherent and actionable feedback.
Might be a difference in market. Like maybe people are just like smoking blunts and playing swipe ball. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, maybe. I got all this productivity oriented feature users who maybe are even developers because they like the GitHub contribution graph visualization. And so I often get technical feedback and they help me debug stuff. Or,
wow.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it sounds like, and I've noticed a lot of build in public people tend to build for other engineers and even specifically other indie hackers. And I think there's a lot of wins to that. The most obvious one is there's just like automatic alignment between you and the customer, and you can reach them on Twitter because you're already in those communities. And then finally, I think they're super proactive and sharp and are really, really able to help guide your product design and things like that.
Yeah. I got the perfect balance. I got the simple users who just want to track their habits, and I got this productivity-oriented developers who want to help me make the best app possible.
Yeah.
Really
Do you
great.
see a lot of HabitKit in the wild? Like, have any productivity influencers just organically done videos or anything like that?
Oh, sadly, not to my knowledge, actually. I got a couple of newsletter mentions in some productivity-oriented newsletters, but that was almost a year ago now. Yeah, so no TikToks and no cool viral videos, just the magic of the distribution on the App Store and Google Play right now.
Have you considered doing your own TikTok videos?
Yeah, I recently wrote with Michael Tigas. I don't know if you know him. He's also an app developer, indie. And he just started doing his own TikTok videos, and that looked pretty cool, but I'm not sure if I want to invest the energy into this. Yeah, maybe you can hire someone who does this. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm just always amazed at how many downloads you get from good ASO. Like, I have an app that gets, let's call it like 40 to 50 downloads a day just from like a single keyword. And anytime I've tried to run actual paid advertising on that spend ends up being like $200 a day worth of spend to try to get that many downloads. And for ASO, it's just like picking the right keyword.
Yeah, exactly. It's super crazy. And on Google Play, it's even more crazy. So if you're ranking in this popular keywords, you get thousands of downloads every day.
It's really interesting. Speaking of which, have you done any paid advertising? I seem to remember that you started putting some budget into Google Play ads.
Not Google Play ads. I use Apple Search ads. I spend $100 every month because I read somewhere on Twitter that it maybe helps with ASO. So Apple prioritizes you because you spend more money on their platform. But I don't know if that's true. So I just went with the basic plan and just spent $100 every month there.
And do you get a sense of what the cost per install is on that? Or is it just like so far in the background that you just don't worry about it?
I don't really worry about it. Last time I checked, it was $2 per
That sounds about right.
Yeah, something like that. pretty expensive for an app that costs $1 a month.
And do you have a sense of like, I know you're not really running a lot of analytics, although I guess you're running RevenueCat, so you should have some pricing analytics, but do you have a sense of what like your lifetime value per customer is? Or per user, I guess?
Not really. I usually don't worry about this metrics. I had to check, but is it easy to find in the app's RevenueCat dashboard?
It might be, but it's something that actually, let's see.
I'm looking at my console too. I'll just scan RevenueCat now. Yeah, realized LTV per customer is what you're looking for under charts.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason I'm curious is because that tells you essentially what each install is worth.
Mm-hmm. So that can't be right. That's an incredibly huge number.
I'm expecting it to be much higher than anyone would suspect.
Oh, here it is. It's 30 cents.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at 14 cents for Dribble and feeling very sad.
Mine actually on one of my apps is 78 cents. It's
pretty
much
good.
higher than you'd expect. But that was when it had a hard paywall. Now it's closer to like 20 cents when I took the hard paywall off.
Yeah. So I recently started a pricing experiment actually with RevenueCat.
Yeah, I'm curious about this, and I'm curious also about your thoughts on offering.
So I actually doubled my prices. So I started the experiment for it. I doubled my prices on iOS. So it's $2 a month and $12 per year and so on. And yeah, so far it's been like only 6 days, but so far it's pretty great. And I think I will switch it and maybe start another experiment on Android.
Yeah. Yeah. When I know you've gotten this feedback before, but I remember seeing your prices and just being amazed at how low they were, basically.
Yeah, I get this a lot. So I recently had this podcast episode with this sub club guys from RevenueCat, and they urged me to do it as well because they wanted me to upgrade to their new plan, maybe.
That's so funny. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I found similar with Dribble Game. It's like I started with really low pricing, and I cranked it up a couple times. And just conversions were not going down. Conversion and retention was holding really steady. And that kind of thing is so hard to test because it's so long tail. Yeah. But it's surprising how high you can go. Of course, I've got my own kind of internal calculus of like, how high do I feel comfortable going before I feel like I'm being really unfair to my users? But I think the other calculus of how much do I think my users are willing to spend often ends up way, way lower than the reality once you actually start testing it.
Yeah, it's super crazy. I remember the episode you guys did on this topic where you were talking about your pricing experiments, and that motivated me as well to do it.
Nice. Yeah, I think we're kind of coming on time here. I was wondering, do you have any future apps planned or any big changes for HabitKit? What's next?
So I'm currently working on a couple of new features for HabitKit, but nothing big. The crazy big new feature that will come after a while, maybe later this year or at the start of next year, will be cross-device synchronization and people being able to actually log in and save up their data in the cloud or something like that.
So right now it's all local on client?
Right now it's all local, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And are you using Drift for that? Or SQLite?
It's actually PowerSync. That's
okay. You are using PowerSync today. You are.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but you just don't have it hooked up to a backend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I already use PowerSync in offline only mode, but once I connected it with Superbase, it will be able to sync. Very cool. That's planned for the future. And in terms of apps, not really. I have many ideas for other cool apps, but right now I try to focus down on HabitKit and make it better.
Do you think for your next app you'll keep the same kind of UI components and brand you've developed across LiftBear, WinDiary, and HabitKit?
Yeah. Not really. It's grown historically, and there's a lot of spaghetti code in the code base of HabitKit, and I would love to start with a clean slate.
Who do you want to nominate to come on the podcast next?
I would love to see Jeffrey Bunn on the podcast, actually. Do you know him?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're good friends with him, so he'd be a great person to have on the podcast.
Oh, okay, awesome, cool.
He did Clearful, and he works at RevenueCat now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his content.
Yeah,
right.
So Jeffrey, we might have to get you on here pretty soon. I'm sure he's listening.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Is there any stuff you think we should have asked that we missed? And is there anything in particular you really want to shout out?
Not really right now. Keep doing what you're doing. I love your podcast, and yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.